Welcome to Money Patterns Decoded. Money is never just about money, it is a pattern. Today we expose one of those hidden patterns, see exactly how it controls your finances, and discover the precise shift that can set you free. Let's begin. Imagine a business that earns steady revenue, yet every month the owner panics. Vendor payments, new client expenses, unexpected repairs, and a line of credit is used again. The revenue was there. The profit looked fine on paper. But the tiny buffer, the small reserve that would have absorbed shocks, was gone. A six-figure company folded because a $1.200 emergency met no resistance. Small gaps, big failures. This is not bad luck. It's a pattern. I name it the sacred margin pattern. The promise of this episode is simple. You'll see how a missing margin quietly collapses your abundance channels. Understand the two mechanisms that create that collapse, and learn a 2-minute daily ritual, the sacred margin ledger, that recreates the buffer and reopens receiving. One shift. Big structural change. First, the psychological mechanism. Most margin loss starts inside the mind. Shame-based omniduty shows up as the sense that you must fix, provide, or compensate. Always. Permission debt is the unfinished ledger in your heart. You feel you owe receiving, so you pre-spend your ability to accept gifts, raises, or profit. Identity's provider glues your self-worth to outflow. If you are the giver, you are lovable. That constellation collapses the internal stopgap that says, "Not now, I will keep a reserve." Instead, you hand resources away until there is nothing left. You see this in households where a single medical bill drains the just-in-case fund. You see it in freelancers who reinvest every invoice immediately with no reserve and then miss a month and panic. This is not frugality. This is permission failure disguised as virtue. Most people don't see their money patterns because they live inside them. Now the esoteric mechanism, the energetic shape of the collapse. Imagine the torus, the field that represents flow. Inflow comes in one side, circulates, and outflow returns without short-circuiting the field. The margin is the containment wall, a small gap in that torus that preserves polarity between receiver and giver. When the containment fails, energy flows across without the necessary polarity, and the entire field short-circuits. Money doesn't circulate, it leaks. Think of plumbing. A house with correctly sized traps and gaps prevents backflow and sewage smell. Remove the small trap and the whole system fouls. The margin is the trap for money. Tiny, precise, and absolutely necessary. That reframing changes everything. Margin is not stinginess, it is structural integrity. Here is the high-impact daily shift, the 2-minute sacred margin ledger. It's a ritual and a ledger habit fused together. Step 1. Decide your starting margin. Pick either a percent or a fixed small number that is meaningful and sustainable. If you're starting the day, use 5% of any net inflow or a flat baseline like $25 on small incomes and $100 on larger inflows. Step 2. At the moment of receipt, an invoice paid, a paycheck, a gift, pause for 60 seconds. Breathe in. Place your hand on the ledger or the notes app and say aloud, "This is reserved." Then note 3 lines, date, inflow amount, margin reserved. Line 4 is a brief intention, e.g., reserve for repair fund or hold for future investment. Step 3, move the reserved amount immediately into a separate bucket, a digital sub-account, an envelope or a labeled ledger column. Do not see this as an investment. See it as the space your field needs to breathe. Step 4. Close the ritual. One breath. One line that acknowledges permission to receive, such as, I accept this buffer. That's it. 2 minutes. Repeat for every meaningful inflow. Concrete starters. If you freelance and you invoice $800, reserve 5% equals $40 into your margin bucket the moment payment clears. If you run a company and you get a monthly profit, move $300 into a margin account before you distribute anything. Track 3 metrics weekly. Margin coverage. How many days your margin will cover if inflow stopped. Margin growth rate. Percent increase week to week. And ritual consistency. Did you perform the ledger on each inflow? Troubleshooting. If you find yourself rating the margin, ask why. Emergency or habit? If habit, tighten the margin by a few percent until the habit breaks. If emergency, replenish at 1.5x the amount over the next 3 inflows. When to widen the margin? After a pattern of volatility, new business model, family changes, increase. When to narrow? Rarely, only when you deliberately allocate margin into an investment with a plan to rebuild. A few clarifications so this isn't misread. Sacred margin is not stinginess. It is not an excuse to hoard. It is structural, a small, intentional buffer that preserves polarity and allows future inflow to circulate. Pair this ritual with basic bookkeeping or a financial advisor when needed. The ledger complements practical planning, it doesn't replace it. Awareness first, action second. If you want the deeper architecture, more patterns, progressive rituals, and mapped practices from sacred geometry through inner alchemy, visit my complete library at Desmarques.com. There you'll find the sacred margin templates, downloadable ledgers, and related chapters that teach how this small buffer scales into structural abundance. Start today. Take 60 seconds the next time money arrives. Make your sacred margin entry, move it to a separate bucket, and close with the simple phrase, I accept this buffer. One shift changes your financial destiny. Money is a pattern. Awareness is the key. That is the money pattern. That is the mechanism. And that is your shift today. If you're ready to decode the full architecture of your financial life, explore my complete library at Desmarques.com.